my channel. So in today's video, I kind of want to talk about a topic that's probably going to give me a bit of backlash. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. And it's kind of like a touchy subject, and I feel like in a sense it's very frowned upon. What I want to discuss is breastfeeding versus formula feeding. So to start off this video, I want to say that since Bailey's been born, I have not breastfed her. That's basically what this video is about. The whole reason that I'm making this video is because I want other moms to know that they shouldn't be ashamed for not breastfeeding. And that's kind of been my experience with not breastfeeding, is feeling ashamed. And I don't think people around me necessarily are coming to me with malicious intent as far as breastfeeding goes, but I think sometimes when somebody doesn't ask you for your help or for your opinion, you probably shouldn't give it. So let me just kind of give you guys a backstory on why I'm not breastfeeding Bailey. So the whole reason I'm not breastfeeding Bailey is because when she was born, my milk did not come in right away, and most people, once they give birth to their baby, their milk comes in instantly or within a couple of hours, and that wasn't the case for me. I didn't even get it the next day, let alone the day after that. So at this point, it had been 2-3 days. I met with a lactation consultant, I was pumping, and nothing was really coming out. So by maybe the 4th or 5th day of her being home, I was still pumping, and I finally got a little bit of milk, and it was probably this much. I will insert a clip of how much I actually got. And so I was pumping multiple times a day. I was eating lactation cookies. I was drinking lactation tea. I was doing pretty much everything to help my milk supply come in, and it never came in for me. And so maybe about 2 weeks later, I had already, by this point, I'm not going to starve her because I'm not getting milk. So her first couple of days home, she was already on formula. She was already on Enfamil. So what I was producing in the bottles wasn't even enough to basically get her tongue wet, in a sense. Like, it was just a teaser. And if you guys see me rocking, it's because she's sitting on my lap. She's not in a good mood. So anyways, so I was getting super frustrated, and honestly, like, to just be real, I gave up because I felt like I was sitting there. So at this point, it was 2.5 weeks that I had been sitting there pumping, and it's okay. It had been 2.5 weeks since I had been pumping for multiple times a day. I would be sitting at where my pump is. I guess I would call it my pump station. And I would be sitting there for almost an hour pumping, and nothing would come out. And I got frustrated. And I don't want to say that breastfeeding is easy, because it's definitely not. I respect moms that are able to breastfeed. That wasn't the case for me. And like I said, I gave up. Like, I just couldn't sit there. I was getting exhausted. Not even exhausted. I was getting frustrated. And it was starting to mess with my head mentally, because I felt like, why am I not like other moms? Why can't I pump? Why am I not getting a milk supply that's filling up a whole bunch of bottles? And I was getting really down on myself and really beating myself up about it. And I feel like you really shouldn't beat yourself up. So I was definitely beating myself up about it, and it was bothering me inside. And I ended up talking to my husband about it, and I was like, I really don't want to let you down. I don't want to let Bailey down, but I really just can't do this anymore. It's messing with my head mentally. It's like I'm looking at other people that are getting milk, and it's like when I would be in public, I would honestly be embarrassed to pull out Enfamil and to pull out formula, basically. And you know, like, once I took a step back and I thought about it, I felt like, why am I ashamed? Why am I embarrassed? My baby is still eating. She's still getting food. It's not like she's starving. I felt like it would have been more selfish of me to try to feed her the little bit of milk that I was getting and to try to think that she was going to be full off that. And don't get me wrong, you can definitely mix formula with your breast milk if you're not getting enough, which is what I was doing. Every now and then I would do that, but it was literally just like not even worth it, in my opinion. Going on to the criticism that was making me uncomfortable or self-conscious was just some of the people around me. And like, not to say my parents or my sibling or my husband, they were all supportive of whatever decision that I made, and they all understood. It was just more so people giving their input. And I felt like the first time that people would meet Bailey or be around me and Bailey, they would ask if I was breastfeeding. And when I would say no, they would go, well, have you met with a lactation consultant? Have you done this? Have you done that? And it was kind of agitating, to be honest. It was very agitating because I don't want to go into detail about why. And I mean, I'm going into detail now because I've taken a step back, and I want other people that aren't getting milk or can't produce milk to not feel shitty about themselves. Like, you shouldn't feel shitty about yourself because you're feeding your kid formula. And I probably should have written down notes because I'm a little all over the place, but I mean, I've been thinking about, before I even filmed this video, I was thinking about it for like 2 weeks, maybe like a week and a half, about this topic. And it really kind of hurt my feelings. It felt like I had already let her down because I couldn't feed her with my own breast milk, but then to have people kind of, and all coming from good intention, so not for malicious intent, but to everybody give me advice and try to basically force me at that point to breastfeed her, was kind of getting irritating. And it was also frustrating because why can't I, as her mom, just come to the conclusion that breastfeeding is not for me and that it's not the path that I'm going to take with this particular baby? I can't say that for other kids that I end up having later down the line, if I'm going to be able to produce for them and this or that. But for this particular baby and this particular pregnancy, that wasn't the case for me. I wasn't able to do that. And I kind of want people that are on the outside to just understand that if somebody tells you that they're not doing something, and if they're not divulging information about why, maybe you should just leave it at the surface, which is where the person that you're asking the question is leaving it, which is the surface, which means they don't really want to go into detail. Do I wish that I could breastfeed? Absolutely. Am I envious of people that can breastfeed? Absolutely, in some way, but in another way, that's not my path, and what's for me is for me, and breastfeeding wasn't for me. Ultimate thing that I want to get across is just, don't make people feel self-conscious about not being able to breastfeed. And bless you, baby. And so don't make people feel self-conscious about not being able to breastfeed. And for those people that can't breastfeed, don't feel bad that you can't breastfeed. There's so many other ways that you can bond with your baby. There's so many other ways that you can provide for your baby. There's so many other things that you can do. And everybody's not the same. Everybody's body's not the same. And for whatever reason you can't breastfeed, that's fine. Like, it's perfectly fine. Your baby will grow up happy and healthy, and they will be fine. I was not breastfed, and I'm perfectly fine. I have a great relationship with my mom. We definitely bond, so that didn't make or break. Honestly, when I met with the lactation consultant, it wasn't helpful for me. She showed me how to get my nipple in Bailey's mouth, but again, if you got her, so I got her to latch on, which was great. So I want to say maybe after a week old, she was able to latch on, but nothing would come out. So when she would scream for milk, I would put her on my boob first to see if that would help with breastfeeding and with getting my milk going. And it wouldn't do anything. She would get frustrated, and she'd be latched on for about 10 minutes and nothing would come out. And she would get frustrated. I would get frustrated because I can't feed her and nothing's coming out. So the advice that I did get was to do skin to skin with her, continue taking my lactation supplements, and basically do skin to skin with her and continue to pump. And we would continuously do that, and there would be no results to that.